Alright, so this evening we are going with a little bit of a northern influence and we're doing poutine. But of course, anytime we do cheese curds in Wisconsin, we gotta do them right. So we're gonna be doing a little bit different there. But we're gonna start with our gravy. So here, I just have about 1.5 tablespoons of melted butter. To that, I'm going to add about 1 tablespoon of flour. We have permission to use flour this time. No issues here. So when I have the opportunity to cook with real flour, I'm going to do it right. Now we're just going to mix this up. I'm at a heat just low enough to get the butter melted right now. Get this all mixed up. And now I'm slowly going to add a homemade beef broth. I pulled this out of the freezer, so we still have a big chunk that's pretty frozen, but it'll cook down. So we're gonna add a little bit, mix it in, crank the heat up to a medium. While I'm making the gravy, I have the oven preset to 375 to get it to warm up so we can cook our fries. Like I said, I froze my broth before, so here's the ice chunk that we're dealing with. Not quite all of it is thaw yet, but we're just going to throw that in there as well and hope it doesn't make too much of a mess as it melts. So what we're going to do here, get it to a rolling boil, and then we're going to pull it down to simmer and just let it thicken up. Now as our gravy is going, we're going to get started on our fries. So here I've just got a potato and we're gonna get this into fries. I'm going a little bit smaller with these ones, but if you prefer thicker fries, more of a steak fry style or anything like that, that's completely up to you. So I'm just gonna get this whole potato going. Then we'll move on to our next step. All right. Now that we've got our potatoes cut up, I'm just going to transfer them to a bowl. I did cut them in half just to make this step a little bit easier, but that's completely optional. And then we're going to throw a little bit of cornstarch in there as well. We're doing that just to, it helps crisp up the fries a little bit. So I'm just going to sprinkle a little bit in there. Give them a little toss, get them all coated. Then we're going to go with a little bit of avocado oil. We're going to be cooking a little bit higher heat, so we want a high heat oil. We don't want something super fragile like avocado oil, or I'm sorry, like olive oil. So a little bit of a high heat oil, avocado oil works good, but other things work as well. To that, I'm just going to add a little bit of parsley. Again, toss them. And then we're going to get them on a tray. We want to make sure that they are spread out in one layer, not clumped up, so they're going to cook better. And then at this point, once our oven is preheated, we're going to pop them in for 20 minutes. After 20 minutes, we are going to just do a quick check. Everything should be good, but then we're going to crank up the heat to about 400, 425, and that's also going to help them get a little bit crispier. So as I mentioned, we are in Wisconsin, and if there are two things that we take seriously in Wisconsin, it's beer and cheese. So for our cheese curds, we're going to do a beer batter. What I have here is just 1 cup of flour. This is a number 1. What the number means in relation to flour is just the coarseness. The lower the number, the finer the flour is going to be. We want something relatively fine here. To that, just going to throw in a little bit of garlic powder. And again, being in Wisconsin, I'm using PBR. We're going to put in a little bit of beer. Mix this up. And we're just going to keep adding beer until we have a batter consistency. I do have a second can on hand just in case we use more than one bottle, which I expect we probably will. And if you're worried about the alcohol content, just like cooking with wine, this is all going to cook off by the time you're eating it. So if you're worried about serving it to kids or something like that, that is not an issue. Add just a touch more, get a little bit more of a liquid consistency in there. And I think we're ready. So to that, we're going to add some fresh cheese curds. Just going to peel these bad boys off, toss them in there. Give them a little bit of a mix, make sure to get them nice and coated. My temperature is working against me a little bit. My cheese curds did come out of the fridge, so we don't have everything quite sticking to them. So maybe I will let these warm up and try again in just a minute. So I still had a little bit of an issue getting our batter to stick to our cheese curds, so what I ended up doing is just giving them a dip, pulling them out, letting them dry a little bit, dipping them again, and repeating that process until they were a little bit more coated. Our fries just got done with the second round, so they're done and ready to go. And next we have to cook our cheese curds. So you guys should know by now that I like frying in lard. I've got a pan of lard that is hot and ready to go. I'm just going to batch cook these guys and give them a quick cook. It should just be a couple minutes on each side. I've just got a spatula with a grate in here so I can flip them when the time comes, and then I'm going to get them on just a plate with a towel to soak up a little bit of the grease and cool down. So due to some technical difficulties, I lost my last clip where I throw everything together, but it should be a pretty easy process from there. You're going to take your fries and cheese curds, throw them in a bowl, smother them with a little bit of gravy on top, and there you have it.